All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back into another episode of Matt Sports Talk, and we are recapping the women's side of things from last night, the first night of Crossroads League women's basketball for the 2025/26 school year. And I'm using my laptop for this to make it at least a little bit easier so I don't have to look down on my iPad. And our first matchup last night takes us to Mount Vernon, Ohio, where number 7 in the country, St. Francis, played the Mount Vernon Nazarene Cougars, and this game was close for at least a little while. But in the third and fourth quarter, St. Francis just too good. St. Francis pulled away for an 86-50 win over the Cougars, and the Lady Cougars of Mount Vernon are projected 8th in preseason. St. Francis projected 1st, and I can definitely understand why. MVNU falls to 4-4 on the year, 7-0 on the year, and undefeated for St. Francis. And looking at the stats for the Cougars, they had some really balanced scoring, or should I say the St. Francis Cougars, because this is a battle of the Cougars. But the Cougars out of Fort Wayne, Indiana, victorious here, 86-60. You had 15 points on the night for Isabella Gizzi, 6 of 8 shooting, 1 of 1 from beyond the arc, 2 of 2 at the free throw line. She had 1 assist. 15 points for Callie Gregory, 5 of 11 shooting, 2 of 4 that was from beyond the arc. She was 3 of 4 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. 15 points as well for Taylor Fordyce, 6 of 10 shooting, 2 of 3 of that was from beyond the arc, 1 of 1 at the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Julia Mantala struggled shooting, just 4 points on the night, but she did have 2 blocks, 1 steal, 3 assists, and 3 rebounds. So really good numbers there. And then Rena Schweiderman, 4 of 9 shooting, 4 of 4 at the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 1 steal. And she ended the night with 12 points. Of course, she is an NCAA Division I transfer from the University of Purdue, Fort Wayne. And then looking down at the Cougars bench, they had some really good productive scoring from their bench. Samaya Stout only had 1 point off the bench, but that was at the free throw line. She did have 4 rebounds and 2 steals, though. And then 2 points off the bench for Deanna Craig, and both of those points were at the free throw line. She had 2 rebounds. Ashley Cox, 6 points off the bench, 3 of 4 shooting, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist, 2 steals, though. And then Allison Show, 4 of 11 shooting, 8 points off the bench for her, with 3 rebounds, as well as 1 assist, 2 steals. And then 3 points off the bench for Emma Royce, which was all from beyond the arc, I might add. And then a pair of points for Abby Stoddard off the bench in just 9 minutes of action. Stoddard also had 1 assist. And then Rachel Harshman, 3 points off the bench, 1 of 4 shooting, and 1 of 2 at the free throw line. She did have 2 rebounds, though, in just 4 minutes of action, so really good numbers there. And St. Francis, as a team, only committed 5 turnovers. They shot 50% from the field, 46 from 3, 78 at the free throw line, converting 15 out of 19 attempts. So really not bad at all there, compared to MVNU, who was 39% from the field, 29 from 3, 87.5 at the free throw line for 7 out of 8 attempts. So obviously MVNU got to the free throw line a lot less than St. Francis did. Now, the only player in double figures for Mount Vernon was Kylie Leibacher, who is a transfer from NCAA Division II, Ashland University. She had 16 points, 6 of 14 shooting, 2 of 6 from downtown, 2 of 3 at the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. 7 points for Olivia Skillings with 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 blocks. So really good numbers there. And then you also had Lily Shepard, 3 of 9 shooting with 9 points, 2 rebounds for her. Angela Roshak, just 2 points off 1 of 5 shooting with 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks. And Anna Swisshelm, 1 of 3 shooting, just 2 points for her on the night with 1 rebound. Off the bench, you had Melody Bluebaugh, 3 points, 1 of 5 shooting, 1 of 1 at the free throw line. She had 2 rebounds, 2 assists, a pair of points for Abigail Hardwick in just 5 minutes of action, 1 of 1 shooting with 2 rebounds. And you also had Naomi Kaib, 2 of 4 shooting, 1 of 1 at the 1 of 1 from beyond the arc, I should say. She had 9 rebounds, 2 assists, and 1 steal. And then Jenna Brumbaugh, 1 of 1 shooting with 2 points in just 5 minutes of action, and Cameron Cummings getting her first playing time. And in her career as a Lady Cougar, she was out all of last year, so great to see her getting some playing time. And both of her points came at the free throw line, though, and she did have 1 rebound. And that was your matchup there. Now, my next matchup takes us to Spring Arbor, Michigan, where the Cougars of Spring Arbor faced off against the Lady Foresters of Huntington, and Spring Arbor victorious here by a final score of 74-62. And for Spring Arbor, they are another undefeated team, actually one of 4 undefeated teams that are left in, I believe they're one of 4. Let me double check that real quick. There are only 4 teams undefeated so far, and that is St. Francis at 7-0 now, Marion at 6-0, Spring Arbor 6-0, and Taylor 6-0. So really good numbers there. And then looking at the box score last night for Huntington, of course, they're without their star three-point shooter, Bailey Kellum, due to an injury. She's out all of this year. So obviously that is going to play a huge part in Huntington's success. Now, a couple of bright spots for Huntington was you had Liv Raby, 17 points, 7 of 11 shooting, 3 of 3 at the free throw line with 13 rebounds, 5 blocks, and 1 steal. So really, really good numbers there. And then Allison Price, a freshman, 3 of 7 shooting, 10 points on the game for her. Annika Nelson, 9 points off 4 of 8 shooting. One of that was from downtown. Kendall Yoakum, 8 points, 3 of 9 shooting for her with 2 rebounds. And for Nelson, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks. So really good numbers there. And then Kendra Sheets really struggled shooting, was 0 of 7, but she did have 5 out of 6 at the free throw line for 5 points on the match for her with 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. And then off the bench, Peyton Hartsoe, 3 of 9 shooting, 8 points for her with 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Tegan Akers, 3 points, 1 of 3 shooting, which was all from downtown. And you had Lauren Merritt, the 6'4" sophomore, getting some playing time in just 5 minutes. She did not score, but she did have 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block, though. So really good numbers there. And then Addie Shank, in 14 minutes of action, 2 of 2 at the free throw line for her only points of the game, 4 rebounds for her, as well as 1 steal. Huntington shot 36 from the field, 23 from beyond the arc, 75 at the free throw line, converting 15 out of 20 attempts, so really not bad numbers there. Compared to Spring Arbor, 35 from the field, 36 from 3, 77 at the free throw line, so really the numbers were pretty even all the way around. Now, Spring Arbor, though, had a lot of offensive production, 1 from Ashley Weller, 24 points for her, 9 of 11 shooting, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc, 4 of 4 at the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 18 points for Emma Smyska, 5 of 13 shooting, 8 of 9 from the free throw line, 18 points for her, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 steals, so really good to see that. And Haven Chapman, 2 of 10 shooting, 7 points for her, but she did have 10 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. And then Megan Zeitz, 20 points off 6 of 20 shooting, 7 of 8 at the charity stripe, though, 5 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. And then off the bench, the only one that scored was Rylan Goodwin, and both of her points were at the free throw line. She did have 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal to go along with that. Now the big difference in this game was Spring Arbor only had 17 turnovers compared to Huntington that had 29, and that was a season high for the Foresters. So obviously you definitely want to see that number improve, and that was your matchup there. The next matchup takes us to Mishawaka, Indiana, where the Marian University Knights faced off against the Pilots of Bethel. Bethel going in was undefeated, and for Bethel, this was a game where they started off 5-0 on the year. That was their best start in 18 years, going back to 2007/2008 school year. Marian, though, able to prevail in the end here, 73-60. Was the final score. And then you had yet another double-double for Abby McNally, 23 points for her, 11 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. She was 8 of 14 shooting, 7 of 10 at the free throw line. Her sister Kylie, 10 points, 3 of 5 shooting, 4 of 6 from the charity stripe, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. You had Madison Bailey with 6 points, 3 of 5 shooting with 2 rebounds. Olivia Faust struggled shooting at just 1 of 6 for only 2 points on the game, but she did have 6 rebounds, and so that's obviously really good numbers there. And then Kenna Kirby, 12 points, 4 of 10 shooting, 2 of 2 at the free throw line with 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And then off the bench, you had Taylor Double, and for Taylor Double, this was the first game, I believe, in her career as a Lady Knight where she's coming off the bench. And she had 13 points, 5 of 8 shooting, 2 of 3 of that was from beyond the arc, 5 rebounds for her, 1 assist. And then everybody else, Kennedy Coleman, just 3 points off the bench, 2 points for Zoe Wheeler, 2 points for Ava Fisher. But Knights, 13 turnovers compared to 15 for Bethel, so really even in terms of turnovers. The Knights, 41 from the field, 30 from 3, 68 at the free throw line, converting 15 out of 22. The Pilots, way worse from the field at 37, way worse or pretty identical from 3 at 31. Way better at the free throw line, though, 84%, converting 16 out of 19. And looking at stats for Bethel, you had Mariah Claywell, 5 of 15 shooting, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc, which was a career highlight for her. 9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 13 points on the game for her. Gracie Lambs also had 13 points, 3 of 7 shooting, 1 of 3 of that was from beyond the arc. 6 of 6 at charity stripe, 3 assists for her. You had Isabel Scales, 13 points as well. 9 of those 13 were at the free throw line, I might add. She had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals. Olivia Nickerson, 3 of 9 shooting with 6 points on the match, or on the game, I should say. 1 steal, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Dominique Stilley, 2 of 3 shooting, 1 of 1 from beyond the arc, 5 points for her, 3 rebounds. And then the only ones off the bench that scored was Jocelyn Marshall, 3 points off the bench, which was all from downtown, 2 assists, 1 rebound, a pair of points for Isabel No, who was a freshman, 3 rebounds, 1 assist for her. Justice Williams, 1 point, which was all at charity stripe. She had 1 assist, 1 steal. And Love Rain Gaskins, 2 of 2 shooting on the game for her. And that was your matchup there. The next matchup takes us to Winona Lake, Indiana, where the Trojans of Taylor faced off against the Grace Lancers. And this was a game where both teams came in undefeated. Taylor, though, victorious here, and a big comeback, I might add. 85-78, the final score here. And now a down thing, or a down spot for Grace is they're now without 2 leading scorers. Morgan Houck and Maddie Pointer are out due to injury, so obviously we hope and pray that those 2 get back fully healthy as soon as possible. And again, one thing for Grace, of course, for last year for Grace, they had a ton of injuries over the course of the whole year, and it seems like this year they, might be going down, that same path. We obviously hope and pray that's not the case. But they struggled with injuries last year. They're starting to struggle with injuries this year, being shorthanded once again. But again, we hope and pray that they're able to fully recover and get everybody back fully healthy, because with a fully healthy roster, Grace is a very, very tough team to beat this year. I think they're tough to beat no matter who's on the court. I think they're tough to beat, no matter that, or no matter what in terms of who's on the court. But it's going to be interesting to say the least. Now, looking at Taylor, you had another blistering performance from Casey Warfel, who was a freshman. She totally just amazed everybody. 40 points for her, and she's only a freshman, I might add, and she is having a stellar season, I can tell you that. And it would not surprise me in her 4 years if she comes close to potentially beating Kendall Bradbury, who was also a former Taylor Trojan, played back from 2015 to 2019. And it would not surprise me if Casey Warfel is able to surpass Bradbury in terms of being the number 1 offensive scorer in terms of the Crossroads League, and she's definitely on pace to do so, I can tell you that. 40 points for her, 14 of 37 shooting. She did struggle from downtown, 1 of 10, but 11 of her 40 came at the free throw line, 11 of 13, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals for her. 12 points for Maddie Allen, who was 6 of 15 shooting, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 steals. 5 points for Selena Blount, 2 of 12 shooting. She did have 15 rebounds, though, so really good numbers there. Blount, of course, is a D1 transfer of University of Charleston. And then off the bench for Taylor. In fact, Taylor only played a total of 9 girls, so maybe they're another team that's dealing with some injuries. Again, we hope and pray that's not the case. And the only other bright spot for Taylor off the bench was Emma Anselet, 4 of 8 shooting, 1 of 3 from beyond the arc. She had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals. 10 points for her. But Trojans, though, 22 turnovers, so that was one really down spot for them. 33 from the field, 17 from 3. They were really good at the free throw line, converting 16 out of 19 for 84%. But the Lancers, though, 15 of 23 at the charity stripe, converting 65%, so obviously that was a little bit of a difference. Grace, though, shot better from the field at 42, and they were only 18.5 from 3, so pretty even numbers there. But obviously for Grace, they are really, really struggling this year, and they only have 9 healthy players, at least right now. Now, a couple bright spots for Grace, you had 22 points for Emma Sperry, 9 of 25 shooting, 2 of 12 from beyond the arc, 2 of 2 at the free throw line, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. You also had Paula Fernandez with 6 points, 2 assists, 3 steals. 8 points for Becca Longenbaugh, and she's married, so she was formerly, trying to think of her maiden name. It was, what was her name? I can't remember her maiden name before she got married off the top of my head. She had 8 points, though, on the night for her. So, again, congratulations to her and her husband for their marriage. We hope and pray it's a blessed marriage, that's for sure. And she had 2 rebounds, 1 assist last night. 6 points for Braylon Terrell, 3 of 5 shooting, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. 6 points for Riley Wetz, 3 of 6 shooting with 6 rebounds. Off the bench, 11 points for Abby Ritzema, 4 of 5 shooting, 2 of 2 from beyond the arc, 1 of 2 at the charity stripe. 3 rebounds, 2 assists for her. And then 14 points for Becca Gert, 3 of 4 shooting, 8 of 12 at the free throw line, 8 rebounds, and 4 steals. And now the one bad thing for Grace was they had 33 turnovers on the game. So obviously that's not going to win you very many games, turning the ball over 30-plus times. And that was your matchup there. And then our last matchup takes us to Marion, Indiana, where number 13 Indiana Wesleyan faced off against the Maple Leafs of Goshen. And I was at this game, and it was absolutely amazing. It was the very first game of the year that I have attended supporting Indiana Wesleyan, so that obviously was pretty cool. And this year's team looks way different, but they played really, really well last night, and I can see why they're projected to finish third in the conference. They just need to keep playing like this the rest of the year, and if they do, then they could easily finish in that top 3, maybe a top 2, but we'll see how the rest of the season goes. Now, of course, the one down thing for the Wildcats is they're currently without Chloe Graham. They're without one of their best forwards off the bench, Bria Garber, and she had surgery on her knee Tuesday, 2 days ago, and she will be out at least for the next month, potentially 2 months. So the most important thing is that we'll be getting her back for sure, fully healthy, more than likely for the second half of conference play when the Wildcats go up to Goshen on January 24th, and that's obviously when the games really start to matter most. So that is one positive thing to take away from being without Garber right now, is that she will be back fully healthy by that point. Now, she's still going to have to take it really, really easy at that time since she still has an issue with her ACL. So obviously she's still going to have to take it easy at that time, and I'm sure she will. I'm sure we'll be playing her a little bit at a time like we have been doing, the first few games this year and what we did last year. So obviously that's going to, that I'm sure is not going to change. And then another thing for the Wildcats is they also lost Sydney Gooden, who is a freshman this year, and she had an ankle sprain, or suffered an ankle sprain injury yesterday late in the fourth quarter. She tripped over somebody's foot, and obviously, she was in a lot of pain, but was able to get up and walk with assistance. So that obviously was good, and she's going to be out at least for a month, maybe 2 at the absolute most. So she's another one that, even though she currently plays in the third unit, she more than likely won't be back fully healthy until the second half of conference play toward the end of January. So, and again, that's when the games really matter most. So, with a fully healthy roster, these Wildcats, they're going to be really, really good when they have a fully healthy roster. And at least right now, we won't have a fully healthy roster until the end of January at the outside latest, or at least more than likely. Now, another bright spot is Ava Geroldsma from the volleyball team. If she's able to play basketball, we should definitely be able to get her playing in early January, when conference play resumes in the new year. So obviously that's going to be really, really important as well. And looking at the stats for the Maple Leafs, they only had one player in double figures, and that was Kyla Foster off the bench. 10 points, 3 of 6 shooting, 3 of 3 at the charity stripe, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. 9 points for Ziane Finesi, 6 points Lillian Null, 8 points for Nyaja Goss, and 8 points for Ava Egoff, and 5 points for Carrie Heiler. The Maple Leafs had 21 turnovers, 31% shooting from the field, 14 from beyond the arc. Really good at the free throw line, converting 8 out of 10 for 80%. The Wildcats, though, had 13 turnovers, so the turnovers, IWU right about on their season average with turnovers. They averaged 14 a game. And the Wildcats shot way better from the field at 53, way better from 3 at 33, and better at the free throw line, 83%, converting 15 out of 18, so really not bad there as well. And you had really good performance from Ellie Kelleher, 16 points, 5 of 8 shooting, 1 of 3 from downtown, 5 of 5 at the free throw line, 11 points for Ayla Krieger, who's a freshman, 5 of 8 shooting, 1 of 4 from downtown, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. And Kelleher, 5 rebounds, 5 assists as well. Emily Mattingly, 2 of 5 shooting, a perfect 2 of 2 at the charity stripe, 2 steals for her. 6 points for Kylie Bettinger, 2 of 5 shooting, which was all from beyond the arc. 1 assist for her, and 6 points for Tori Thompson, 2 of 4 shooting, 2 of 3 of that was from beyond the arc. 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 steal. Off the bench, you had Sophia Schroeder, a freshman, 6'3" forward, and she had 1 point. That was at the free throw line. She did have she did have 3 rebounds and 1 block, and she was really, really excited about the 1 block that she had, and I was too. I'm like, man, that is awesome. Get your first, I'm pretty sure it was her first collegiate block. I'm not totally sure on that. But at least her first collegiate block in conference play. So what better way than to start off your first conference game with a block? So that obviously is pretty cool, right? And then 6 points for Haley Amy off the bench, 2 of 2 shooting, 2 of 2 of that was from the free throw line. She did have 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. So really good numbers there. And then 2 points for Sydney Gooden in just 2 minutes of action with 1 steal. And I alluded to her having that ankle sprain injury at the end of the fourth quarter. She's out at least for the next month, 2 months at the outside lasted. And then another bright spot off the bench was Corinne Grivey. And I finally pronounced her name correctly. In fact, I talked with her after the game, and I'm like, how do you pronounce your name again? And she told me, and I'm like, I am so sorry. If I've been mispronouncing your name this whole time. She's like, oh, no, you're fine. People mispronounce my name all the time. So, obviously I definitely wanted to get her name, pronounce her name correctly. She had 15 points off the bench, 5 of 6 shooting, which was all from beyond the arc. 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals for her. Jade Hovey, 2 points. It was just 1 of 5 shooting, but she did have 2 assists though, and 1 steal. And then her sister Addie Hovey really lit it up off the bench. 16 points, 7 of 12 shooting, 2 of 2 at the charity stripe, with 3 assists, 7 rebounds, and she did have 1 block. And then Mila Browning, 1 of 4 shooting and 15 minutes of action, 3 of 5 at the charity stripe with 1 steal. And Browning played with Emily Mattingly in Evansville, Indiana for high school, so obviously that's really, really, really cool to see. And that was your matchup there. And that concludes the recapping all the games from the women's side of things. And if you did enjoy this video, please either like, comment, or subscribe. Any one of those options helps me out greatly. And please keep subscribing to my channel. My goal is to hit 500 subscribers by February 21st, 2026. So please keep subscribing to my channel. Please keep sharing this with your friends, your family, anybody that you know. And let's hit that subscriber goal. And for those of you that already have subscribed, I really, really appreciate that. And Saturday's games I will be recapping next Monday, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching this video. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless.